Welcome to episode 1. If you don't know who I am, my name is Bailey. I am an online fitness coach and I specialize in body recomposition, fat loss, and filling that gap between physical health and mental health and really merging the two together. So if you are somebody that follows me, if you're somebody that works with me, if you're somebody that has thought about working with me, if you're here and you're watching this podcast, you obviously are here for the reason being that you want to make a change. You don't know how to make that change. We're going to talk about how you're restricting yourself and what you need to do to be able to begin to reach that change. First things first, I need you to understand one thing, and that's that your life is your life. What I mean by that is stop catering your life to other people and cater it to you and what you need and what you want. Everybody's going to have something to say, whether it comes down to your career choices, your financial choices, or even just your normal physical choices. Like if you want to lose weight and somebody comes to you and they go, you don't need to lose weight. You're so skinny. You don't need to lose weight. Okay, but the thing is that I want to make a change in my body because I feel a certain way. So I'm going to do the things that I need to do in my life so I can feel better. All these people do when they come in with judgment is fail to recognize that you have needs that need to be met. Clearly you haven't done that, and that's why you just need to start and block everybody out. A lot of people are going to be mad, especially when it comes to fitness. People are going to be mad when you decide to make choices that cater to your life and when you make choices that make you more successful. And the reason why they're going to be mad, typically it's because they don't know what you're facing or what you've gone through before. And because they've seen a weaker side of you, what they decide to do is they decide to take that, prey on it, make themselves feel better, and hope that you don't rise up the way that you're supposed to. I can give a personal example of this. So when I started competing, I remember I had a lot of people, including, my partner at the time, doubting that I could do it. Because it is a different level of extreme, but it was something that I was ready for because of the stuff that I had been through. So I had reached out to my coach, Amber Camera, who is literally a magician and he's changed me in so many ways. And I was 11 weeks out from a show, which if you know anything about competing, that is so unheard of. I was 11 weeks out from a show. I had never properly dieted before. I was practically eating just like a granola bar and iced coffee all day long. I was in a very stringent eating disorder, and I had decided I was going to compete. And, he said like, okay, let me see what you look like. Come into my gym. And so I went. It was about 20 minutes from me. I did some posing and he was like, you could do it. But I will never forget the conversation that I had with him. And he said, you understand it's going to be very hard, right? And I was like, sir, I know it's going to be hard, and that's why I'm doing it. And he said, no, I don't think you understand. It is going to be extremely hard. You're going to have to pretty much dedicate everything to this. At this point, I was a university student. I was doing a double major. I was extremely busy. I had a very busy clientele. I was running my own business, and I was also 20 years old. He said, you could do it. It's going to be extremely hard. And I'll never forget shaking his hand, saying, yep, I've got it. Thank you. Nice to meet you. And moving along and being so excited going home because I knew that the hard shit was coming and that was exactly what I needed. Not only at this point was I a university student and I was trying to tackle, running my business and then also being in school, but I was also going through a lot of stuff at home, like a lot of stuff at home. For the first almost 2 months of that prep, which an 11-week prep, it's about 80%. I was living in a hotel. I didn't have anywhere to live. I was driving about an hour every single day to commute to work. And then after work, I was going on what was still, the hours that were set at the gym at that time. I don't know if I'm allowed to say it, but during the whole sickness that was going on worldwide, there were certain hours at the gym. And I would finish work at 7 o'clock. The gym would close at, I believe, 10 o'clock was the latest slot. And I would go in and I would, in those 3 hours, get 2 hours, sometimes 2.5 hours of cardio done, my training. And then I would drive back an hour to the hotel that I was staying in. I would meal prep on this stovetop that wasn't even an actual stove or oven, and I would meal prep all of my meals, have it all laid out on the bed that I was staying on, and And I would just make sure that I got it done. And the reason why I mention this, it isn't for pity, okay? But it's for the fact that when you have no choice but to prove how strong you are, that's when you become your strongest, okay? And this is what I mean when I say that people are going to be so mad when you turn out to be on top. That year I went and I competed, and I was in a class of nearly 20 girls for 3 classes, and I had come second in 2 of them and third in 1 of them. And that lit a fire in me that just proved that I could do it, because if I was doing this stuff that is so physically exhausting, not to mention mentally exhausting, during the hardest point of my life, I was able to do anything. I quite literally felt like I could walk on water, like Jesus. So people are going to be mad, but it's about how you feel and about how you handle things, and it's about how you transform as a person. Once you've been through hardships, it's going to be very easy to decipher what is reality and what is not, and who is actually strong and who's a good person and who's not. And once you reach this point of realization, you will be able to glide through life. And then the next point is self-actualization, okay? And this is something that isn't talked about nearly enough. Self-actualization is realizing what you have around you. Now, I used to be somebody that was completely always, and I still kind of am, completely always, what's next? What can I do next? I would even start projects, not quite finish them, and then take on other tasks. I've always got at least 3 things going. And it's because all I feel like I want is to reach that certain point and level of feeling successful that I'm constantly hungry, or I'm constantly on the grind, or I'm constantly pushing, whatever you want to call it. And listen, there is nothing wrong with doing all of that. There is nothing wrong at all. But what's wrong is when you don't give yourself the second to breathe and be above water and understand what you have accomplished, appreciate it, and then use what you have accomplished and your appreciation for that to then move you forward in life. Because if I didn't do that, I would still be 10 steps behind. Listen, taking a step back, there's nothing wrong with it. But taking a step back, sitting there, and then not moving, that's got a problem. What I'm basically trying to say is you have to understand what you have done, give yourself a little grace, and then use that to keep driving forward. And if you're not one of those people, and you feel like you're weak and that you can't do it, you're not actually weak. You're not, okay? You are so much stronger than you think you are. It's just that you haven't reached a certain level where you've had to prove to yourself that you actually have that specific level of strength. And because you haven't got to that certain level yet, and that understanding of what you need to do when you do reach that level, because maybe you have reached that level, but you've been so socially conditioned by the people around you that want you to stay weak, that you are weak. And that's not the case. It's that these people want to feel better about themselves. So they want you to stay weak. You stay weak. I'm going to feel better about myself by doing nothing. And believe me, it's hard to leave this weak spot because it is so comfortable having everybody be in your ear about you're perfect the way you are. Oh, don't stress yourself out. Oh, I don't think you need to change. I think I love you the way that you are. No, if you are not comfortable, remember, it is your life. It is your life. It is your feelings. It is the way that you think. It is nobody else's. So why are you allowing for these other people to put in their input and let that dictate what you decide to or to not do? Let's say you realize after watching this, I am weak. I need to do something here because I am not happy. I am not feeling good. And whether that be, with where you are at in your career, or with where you're at in your school studies, or where you're at in the way that you fit into your clothes, or look in photos, or look in the mirror, the way that you think of yourself, you need to understand now how to navigate yourself out of this weak spot. And this is where a lot of people go wrong, because they think that what they need to do is go 0 to 100. Okay? If you do that, I promise you're setting yourself up for failure. You need to first understand that your energy is a meter. Think about it like the battery on your phone. Okay, let's say my phone right now, I'm at 21%. I need to charge my phone. So let's think about, I'm out, I'm by myself, it's late at night, it's dark, I'm alone. What am I going to do with the 21% left that I have on my phone? Am I going to sit here and call somebody that is toxic and talk to them about God knows what? Am I going to sit and scroll through Instagram? Am I going to sit here and scroll through brain rot TikTok? No. What I'm going to do is I'm going to preserve this battery for when I need it. I'm going to preserve this battery and I'm going to use it where it is best to be used. You need to do the same thing with your energy. Let's say you want to better yourself in and of itself. Where is your energy going to best be spent? Boozing all weekend and going to the bar, not remembering what you're doing? Or going to the gym, reading a book, going for a walk, having a bath, doing a self-care night? And listen, I'm not saying that you can't have fun weekends and you can't have a couple drinks and you can't, let loose a little bit. But when you are doing it in gluttony, you're only going to find yourself staying the same or getting worse. And if there is one thing that I can say about what's scarier than not making a change, is staying the fucking same. Because time is going to pass anyway. And if you are miserable with where you're at right now, how much more miserable are you going to be in a year from now? What are your main takeaways going to be from this? It's going to be that if you want to make a change, you have to do 3 things. 1, understand that you need to make a change. Recognize that. 2, you need to realize not everybody's got your best interest. 2, you need to be able to decipher who is in your best interest and who is not. Once you have realization, you're then going to be able to reflect and have self-actualization. And 3, understand what you need to do to move forward, where you need to put your energy, and what you need to do with that energy. That is the first episode. And if you enjoyed it, please like, subscribe, comment, share. Go to my Instagram at BailBrownFit, BailBrownFit, and send me what you might want to see on the podcast next. I really want to use this platform as a space where you can leave here and feel inspired and feel empowered. And that's going to be what this podcast is all about. Thank you for tuning in to my first ever podcast.